All right, let's try this again. Hi, everyone. I'm doing this session from my phone, so hopefully it'll stay logged on. Our Wi-Fi seems to be a little slow. Hi, Linda. Thank you guys for joining. So feel free to share this. We're going to talk about using a little bit about Google Hangouts today. There's quite a few things that Google Hangouts can do, but I just kind of want to show you guys the basics and some of the reasons that I am considering using Google Hangouts for some of my online office hours. Hi, Darlene. Hi. So I'll go ahead and jump into it. Sorry that this is going to be kind of shaky. I broke my holder for my iPad/phone about 2 weeks ago. I might have mentioned last week in my podcast. So if you guys have any recommendations for a stand to hold your phone and an iPad in class, let me know in the comments below. I had mine for about a month and the metal already snapped. So I got to find something that's a little bit better. So back to Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts is a Google product, so I have my Gmail account open here. There's a few different ways to get to your Google+, but I pretty much always have my Gmail account open on my desktop. So on the Gmail account, you will have a little square that has 9 dots in it. That's your Google app area. If you click that, again, you can go straight to Hangouts down here. But I like to use Google On Air. I'm considering using Google On Air, and I'll tell you all about why in a moment. So I'm just going to go straight to Google Plus from the app area. And so that'll bring me to my main Google Plus account here. Over here in the top left corner, you can click on Hangouts. And that will take you to the screen where you can decide to either start a Hangout or to start a Hangouts on Air. So a little bit about Hangouts. With both of these, you can schedule them in advance if you would like. Both of these create permanent links. Both of them, you can invite people to it, or you can make it a public event. But there's 2 reasons that I am considering using Hangouts on Air instead of just Hangouts for my online office hours. And one reason is the fact that if you can actually link it out to your YouTube. So your YouTube will save it as an unlisted video. So you can post that video for your students to review later if you would like. Also, with both Hangouts and Hangouts on Air, they only allow 10 active people in the session at one time, but with Hangouts on Air, you can, more than 10 people can watch. It's just only 10 can interact with you at one time. So if somebody ends up leaving, the other people are at least watching, getting the content, and then as soon as someone leaves, they'll get a spot in. So the fact that it goes to YouTube for later viewing and more than 10 people can watch sounds really ideal for a classroom situation. So I'm going to go ahead and walk y'all through how to create a Hangout to show you how easy it is. You just click Create a Hangout, give it a name. So I'm going to call it Test. Call it whatever you would like. If I was using this for class, I would probably give it my class name, like Kim 1110. And then if we were going to cover a specific topic, in office hours that week, which is something I've been doing to help motivate students to come, I would tell them the topic in this little box here. You can see that you can start it now or schedule it for a later date. I'm going to go ahead and do one for now so you guys can see it. For a classroom type setting, I probably wouldn't make it public. And again, there's kind of pros and cons to doing that. But I want my students to feel comfortable in answering questions, so I personally don't think it should be public. And then you can type in your students' email addresses, and I'm actually going to use just another Gmail account that I happen to be in charge of, so y'all can see how it would work. You can send an invite in the way that I'm doing it now. But again, this can be a little bit laborious if you have more than 20 students in your class. And also, sometimes these invites, they'll go straight to your calendar and they're a little hard to find in the mailbox itself. So I'm going to show you all a different way to invite people that's a little easier than this step. So we can go ahead and share it and get our Hangout started. So this is the screen that will pop up for me. If you scheduled this for later, under your Events tab, it would say Home if you're right on the Gmail account or the Google Plus page initially. But it took me straight to the Events page to show you what you have scheduled or what you have going on when it comes to broadcasting. So I'm going to go ahead and start this because I want to show you guys some features that are really handy with this, especially for an instructor. So it gives you another opportunity to invite guests by typing in their email. But again, for me, I don't think that's going to be the easiest way for my students to join. So my desktop computer here doesn't have a camera, so right now they can't see my face. Ideally, I would do this on a computer that does have a camera, so that way they would be able to see my screen. You can see down here at the bottom, the broadcast is loading. There are various apps that are in Google Hangouts, so it's loading the apps and it's just loading your overall broadcast URL right now. So as soon as this page pops up does not mean the broadcast has started. And that's something that used to panic me. I thought it was already started. But after it loads, then the Start Broadcast button shows up. If you want to invite your students using the alternative method before you start the broadcast, over here in the bottom right corner, there is a button that says Links. This will give you the direct link to this video on the YouTube. So there's kind of two things I've seen instructors do with this. They either have students join them directly on Google Hangouts, which is what I would do, so that way I can see my students' faces. But also they can just watch live on the YouTube page and leave their comments in the comment section on YouTube. So once I push Start Broadcast, it will record this as a YouTube video, again, for later reference. So the way I would share this with my students is I would copy the event page, and I would probably put it on my D2L page or send a class email. So again, I'm going to send an email to another Gmail account that I happen to own. But you could send this link out on social media, whatever way you connect with your students most easily. So I'm going to send that. I'm going to come over to my student account that I have pulled up on my iPad. That's another good thing about Google Hangouts. It can be used on any platform, Windows, iOS, and it can also be used on Android. So here's the link I just sent myself, and it will automatically open up the Google Plus and Hangout screen. And it actually looks like I'm lying to you right now. So I think I need to copy that link again. Maybe I need to go ahead and start the broadcast. It's kind of more difficult when you're sitting here doing it by yourself. So let's try this again. Let's copy the event page. I have the broadcast started. Let's try to compose the email back to my account. And send it. Hopefully it works this time. That's interesting. Earlier, it went straight to the thing when I tested this. Normally, it would take you straight to it. I've never seen it pop up with another screen before. Well, lesson learned with this. Interesting. Normally, it goes straight to it. Let's see if my Hangout's open in the background. Nope. Let me try to open my Hangouts to see if I can get it to open that way. Now my iOS is trying to update. I am so sorry, guys. I can't get my student account to log in. But normally you would just share the link, and then on my screen here, as your students show up, you'll get more small little windows of each student trying to log in. But the link does work. I have used this before. I can't show you on my computer because you can't have two Hangouts going on the same system at the same time. But I thought it would work with my iPad, but I was trying to update. Anywho, one of the reasons, besides just being able to see my screen, what I thought, I have a lot of instructors that ask me, how can I collaborate with my students more? So that's where these little apps are going to come in on the Hangout site. There's several apps. One of my favorite is going to be the chat feature up here at the top. So I already had that opened actually because I always use that. The chat feature gives a way for students to ask questions using their keyboard down here at the bottom. And as they send in things, it'll have their name and what they've written. So some students might not have access to a microphone, so this would be a good way for them to ask questions. Another common feature, some teachers use this for a way for students to actually give presentations. And you as an instructor, they actually have a new feature called Control Room. And again, since it's just me in the room, there's just me, but everybody could be in this room. And let's say a student is doing something inappropriate, or even if their dogs are barking in the background, it's very distracting. The Control Room app gives you the power to mute them. So you can take the volume all the way down, and then that way no other students would be distracted by what their comments are or what is going on in the background in case it's getting picked up and that student didn't realize it. So chat, Control Room, and then my third favorite Google app is going to be the whiteboard feature. A lot of you guys know that I teach chemistry, and of course, it's not going to pull up since I don't have any other students in here. But with the whiteboard feature, oh, here it goes. You can use a pencil tool and draw on it. It pulled up what I had on here last. You can import pictures or documents and draw directly on them. So as a chemistry instructor, this is really useful. I would normally upload maybe a document that we were working on in class, and we could continue working on it using Google Hangouts. What's really neat about I usually use the group board. You can save these for future reference again. You can post it on your learning management system. You could print it directly, or you can delete everything and kind of start over. You'll notice with the delete feature, it still left the picture that I had uploaded earlier on my account. So I really love this whiteboard feature. It gives me a place to write out some chemistry things that are too difficult to type. And lastly is going to be the screen sharing feature. In order for the students to see the whiteboard, you would need to use this feature anyway. So in that case, you would screen share your entire screen. So they would see everything going on my computer. Or you could screen share just Google Hangouts. The entire screen feature is really handy besides just showing your students the whiteboard, because it would share on their screen like this. You can also use this. Maybe you have a PowerPoint that you want to run through your students, or a web page that you want to reference with your students. My students would see everything that's going on right now. And I really like this screen sharing feature, or any of these apps. When you want the app to close, you just click on it, and it instantly goes away from the screen. I've used some other online tools that have a whiteboard, and it was kind of difficult to switch between the camera or my voice and the whiteboard feature. So I really like how easy it is to switch between these apps. And so that's kind of my quick overview. Sorry I couldn't get myself logged in as a student so y'all could see what that would look like. Is there anything else y'all would want to see on here, or is there anything that seems to be missing if you think about using this as a virtual online office hours? As usual, I want to hear what you guys use. Is there any programs that y'all use? Great, that'd be great if you could try it and let me know if it was easy for you to use. A lot of students have a Gmail account, or if not, it's free, and it opens up the whole world of
You know, they could use Google Docs to do their word processing. There's so many things Google has to offer. So I always encourage my students to get a Gmail account anyway. I actually encourage them to make a Gmail that has their same first part as their Pellissippi email, so it's easy for them to remember. Well, thank you guys for joining, and hopefully if y'all use the Hangouts, let me know how it worked out for you, and I'm hoping to use it for virtual office hours soon. Thank you guys for joining.